China's tax system can be bewildering and problematic for foreign investors unaccustomed to its intricacies. China has a few major tax problems, in which most of those problems are based on the fact that China has the second largest economy in the world, coupled with advanced financial systems and international trade networks. In fact, we should know that this country also has a large informal economy. China's large economy demands a level of government spending, and of course it does require a large and broad tax base. Several factors contribute to China's tax problems, from ambiguous value-added tax rate application, the national leaderboard, local government financing, and industry to their tax returns. Given the challenges presented by China's tax system, identifying the areas where foreign businesses are most vulnerable to irregularities can help ensure compliance and avoid triggering an audit. In this video, we'll be looking at these major problems that China has been experiencing, so watch the video to the end because it's going to be really interesting. The United States is known to be China's closest peer, and its economic size has federal tax revenues of around 17% of GDP. It is actually up 25% when all local and state revenues are included. China has a handful of systematic issues, and they really need to look at these issues in order for them to stop living on borrowed time and create a sustainable system to fund its government's activities. However, for most to understand the problem, the reasons why China has not been able to raise more taxes from its economy should not be overemphasized. China has a low tax revenue, which is definitely going to affect its economy in a bad way. The country needs to work on this issue, and they need to do it very fast. So when it comes to the tax collection problems China is facing, we should understand that China can't collect taxes from most people. Those they can actually receive taxes from always perform a really good job of avoiding those taxes. However, the taxes they receive do not always go where they're supposed to go, and when this happens, it becomes a major problem. It is obvious that China operates off a central authority. No matter their terms of operation, it is not possible for a single man or an organization to oversee the operations of over 1.4 billion individuals in the country. This reason alone is why the government authority is shared amongst provinces with their own sub-provincial regions and cities within those regions. We can say these local authorities are in charge of some government functions, and these functions are regionally specific and too small to be controlled by government organizations. Even after China's plans to curb these problems, their creativity level hasn't really been advanced. The government of China has now come up with something that we refer to as a local government financing platform. What does this mean, and how will it salvage the situation? Well, what these authorities in the local government do is initiate a private company. After the setup, they will devise a means to give the company some of their state assets. These assets could be cash, the land rights they're trying to sell off, or even the shares in state enterprises. When this happens, it is the turn of the private company to visit the bank and use all of these assets as collateral to get a loan from the local government. These processes can be somewhat challenging, though. After that, it can now use the cash to fund whatever infrastructure projects it prefers, and then the banks will gather these loans up and sell them as bonds on the open market. Going back to 2019, when local government financing bonds constituted around 40% of all outstanding bonds in China's domestic market, well, the other 60% was up until recently mostly made up of real estate bonds sold by the development companies that needed funding to build on the land that was being leased out to them by these local governments. These local government financing platform bonds are deemed to be quite safe because they indirectly have the backing of the Communist Party, and it's unthinkable for many Chinese investors that the government will default on their debt. We should also be aware that tax evasion is really affecting the economic growth of China, and China has informed the public that all those who evade taxes will be severely punished. Although the tax obligation of tax evasion lies in the taxpayer, the tax law and the criminal law won't take the withholding agents with levity. Also, if an organization constitutes the crime of tax evasion, such organization will not only bear the fine but will also be punished. Recently, the Chinese tax authorities have cracked down hard the tax evasion behavior. Regardless of how it happens, there will be different means to curb the act, like setting up shell companies, accepting false invoices, cashing out by booking more costs and less income, and itemizing false personal expenses. Furthermore, tax may be pursued indefinitely for these tax evasion due to subjective intent, and it will definitely bring huge risks to the business operating and responsible person. Well, there is still more to the reason behind China's major tax problem. Ever since China has been attacked by severe economic and tax problems, growth has stalled and youth unemployment is even at a record high. In fact, the housing market has been down and companies are struggling with recurring supply chain headaches. The world's second biggest economy is grappling with the impact of severe drought, and its vast real estate sector is suffering the consequences of running up too much debt. Now that all these are happening to the most populated country, the situation is being made worse by the adherence of Beijing to a rigid zero-COVID policy. Unfortunately, it doesn't show any sign of change this year. Within the past 2 weeks, 8 megacities have gone down into strict lockdown. Throughout the nationwide, at least 74 cities have been closed off since late August. This lockdown only has affected over 313 million residents, according to CNN calculations based on government statistics. It was estimated by Goldman Sachs that cities impacted by lockdowns account for 35% of China's gross domestic product. Another major problem China has with taxes is that people don't pay them. China does have traditional progressive income taxes ranging from 3 to 4 to 5% depending on how much citizens earn. It is quite unfortunate that most citizens do not pay these taxes. It is obvious that people in China will have something they do in order to generate funds. Most people in China are self-employed in the informal economy, from running small businesses or working on the farm or even other jobs that are paid with cash in hand or transfers. They would still have something they do, but the problem boils down to avoidance in paying these taxes. However, the financial spectrum rarely gets their income from a paycheck. They funnel it through businesses and other assets, which can massively reduce their tax burden. There are some unavoidable means of paying taxes, and only the minority are wealthy enough to have a formal job. These people will always end up paying it because their jobs are official, unlike those traditional businessmen. It is only unfortunate that there have been a number of scandals surrounding high-profile Chinese business leaders and celebrities engaging in tax avoidance. It isn't on a worst-case scenario, because the government can curb a lot of these acts if they are really ready to. How about stability and confidence? Well, we understand that China's economy is extremely influential these days, and we do not see it going anywhere anytime soon. However, it's almost hard to imagine a time when China wasn't a major economic superpower. Currently, you can't just underestimate the power they have, and its economy has doubled in size since 2010. But we believe China will get at its feet again, because no country has ever had the growth it has. Let's see what happens next. That is it for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, kindly subscribe to this channel and give the video a like. If you're optimistic about the future of the world economy, do well to enable your notification icon so you never miss any exciting related videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.